What's up, guys? It's Johnny Valentine with Gain Solar, and today I'm going to show you this kind of a quick way to calculate voltage drop and check your voltage drop. Um, a lot of people have the question of what size wire am I going to run on my solar installation? How big does that wire need to be between the solar array and the Solark? And sometimes you might have 3, 4, 5. We've even done like 800 feet. So the Solark is a high voltage inverter, so that allows you to come in at a higher voltage, which is really nice. The Solark, most of our strings are between 3 and 400 volts, but the Solark 12K will let you come in as much as 450. I think 550 is the you burned up the Solark limit. So it's really nice to be able to come in. Yeah, 150 to 425 volts. Max DC voltage is 500 volts at 18 amps, 450 volts at 20 amps, and I believe the damage occurs at 550 volts. So it's really, really nice to be able to wire your solar array at that high voltage and come in. But you have to account for voltage drop. Voltage drop is, the farther the wire, the longer the wire is, the more voltage you can lose. It's kind of like if you're imagining a garden hose. The longer that garden hose gets, the less pressure you have at the other end. So you want to make sure your wire is sized correctly. It needs to be bigger to overcome the voltage drop. So this is the Solark voltage drop calculator, and one of the reasons I'm making this video is because I keep having to do voltage drop calculations for all these different people, and I want them to do them themselves. So the way that I got to this tool, I think I just googled Solark 12K string calculator, and it comes up. Yeah, panel sizing tool. So there it is. Click to view. So the link right there is Solark panel sizing tool, and then you would just click to view the sizing tool, and there it is. They have on there a drop-down list of some panels, but they haven't updated it very recently, so it doesn't have a lot of the panels I use. So I'm always going to go on there and click Other, and then you want to pull up your panel spec sheet. So on this particular project, I'm going to be using the Q-Cell 400s. These are the Q-Cells, and you need to get all these values. So these are your performance values for your panels, and you're going to be pulling it from the standard test conditions, not performance test conditions or those numbers. You want to get the standard test conditions, and then one other place you're going to need to get some information from is the solar reference map. This is from I think I googled this. I googled solar reference map, solar ABC's maps, and they'll give you solar reference points. It's from the solar ABCs, and I never can find it on this website anymore. So I always use solar reference map. But basically, you're trying to figure out what the minimum temperature is and the maximum temperature is, and you want the coldest possible temperature that there can be. And so, like, if I type in my zip code, it pops up this value right here, which is what I'm going to plug in for the coldest day, and then I'm going to plug in this, the 2% average, for the hottest day. And you need those numbers because that's going to cause the voltage to go up or down. On the coldest day of the year, the voltage can be significantly higher. And remember, if you bust that 550 mark, you're going to damage your Solark inverter. So you want the highest voltage possible so you can use the smallest, cheapest wire possible, but you don't want your voltage so high that you are going to damage your inverter on the coldest day of the year. So with all that said, I've gone ahead and put in all my specs for the LG panel that I'm going to be using. And then the Solark calculator kind of lets you, once you put in all those specs, it allows you to change the number of panels on the string. And I've kind of got two different scenarios that I'm running. And then it also allows you to change the distances of the strings to the MPPTs of the Solark. And you can kind of see, so I can see what a number 8 wire is doing. So basically I'm wondering on this job, you know, I know the guy's going to have strings of 7. I was interested to know what a string of 8, what the voltage difference would be, which it was 391 volts versus 342 volts. But it was, the operating voltage was going to be 329 versus 288. But the this job we're going to be in strings of 7. We do a lot of 4x28 solar arrays, or 2x14 or 28 panel arrays with strings of 7, and they're combined. And so that would be what this setup is 2 strings of 7. So MPPT1 has number of modules in series 7, number of strings on MPPT1, 2 in parallel, and then the distance of MPPT1. So what's cool is I can put in, if I put in 300 feet, it tells me, you know, the voltage, and these are all the same until I get down to here, and it says it doesn't work at 400 feet, but it does work at 300 feet. Now 3.38% right now, as expensive as copper is, I think I might use the number 8. Just go ahead and use it. I might tell the customer, hey, listen, this is not a lot of voltage drop. The NEC recommends, you know, that you have less than 3% voltage drop, but man, I just don't get so, I don't go crazy over that. If that was like 5%, I might do it. But at the end of the day, I think I'd let the customer make the decision on whether you want to bury. But now look, if I kick it up to a number 6 size wire, all of a sudden he's got 2.12% voltage drop on a 400-foot circuit. So this thing is really good. This tool is really easy to use to figure out what your voltage drop is going to be and what size wire you should use. And it's also really good to figure out whether your VOC is going to cause you to be over on the coldest day of the year. And it's not. I think I'd have to do about 10 before my VOC. Yep, there it is. So right there, 10 panels in a string puts too many watts on the Solark. But if I did 10 panels in a string and one, not paralleling them, just had 10, I could actually do it. 489 volts open circuit, and I could be bringing in, I'd be bringing in the power, folks. I'd have 4,000 watts coming in on one side of the inverter. And there's nothing wrong with that other than the fact that, you know, I can actually get more power if I come down and do 7 panels in a string, but I do, and I parallel them, I can bring in 5,600 watts on that MPPT, so I can bring in a little more power. And then the last thing that I'll show you is this is Google Earth, and this is an example of a house. This is actually my place, but my solar array is right here. So in order to, if you don't have a measuring wheel, which I do, you know, encourage you to measure it, but if you don't have a measuring wheel, I know my solar array is about right here. I go into Google Earth, do the measuring tools, and I can do a path, and Google Earth is surprisingly accurate. So I know what my conduit path is. I know where the wire's buried, about like that. Then it goes under the house, comes out, goes over to my barn. So 344 feet. I have my panels wired in strings of 7. They're 344 feet. And I've got LG panels, but they're 400 watts. They're probably very similar, so I'm not even going to mess with this. If I want to see what an 8 and a 6 will do, I can type in 344 feet on there and go down and look. It looks like a number 8 would work. A number 6 would even work, would definitely work. But let's see what a number 10 will do, because I like to save money, you know. Number 10 wire, Boom. Does it hurt me? 4.62% voltage drop. So Johnny has to make a decision right there. Does he want to pull 10 or does he want to pull 8? Probably going to, honestly, on my house, because keeping with cobbler's sons being the last to have shoes, I'm probably going to pull, I wish I hadn't done that. I'm probably going to pull 8 all the way to the house. And then when I get to the house, from here to here, I might do 10 just to get it in there. Because remember, guys, the other thing that's happening is your Solark, your string is not always going to be carrying 19.4 amps, right? This thing's figuring for 19 amps of current. That's only at max load. If it was carrying half of that, you wouldn't have as much voltage drop, right? If I took this number and turned it to, 4.5, then all of a sudden the voltage drop's not there. Because the voltage drop is only going to happen during the maximum amount of power. Just interesting to do that and see what happens. So anyway, I hope this video helps you guys. This tool has certainly helped me using Google Earth, your panel spec sheets, and the solar reference map to figure out your low temps, extreme low temp, and your high temp. And do use these values, extreme low temp values. This is like an ASHRAE value and a high temp 2% average. And this should help you. This should help me help you by helping me not to figure this out, but you can do it instead. So use this tool, guys. It's helped us a lot, and I recommend it. You're going to probably, just a quick rule of thumb is if it's less than 200 feet, you're going to probably run number 10. If it's over 200 feet, you might want to run number 8. And if it's over 300 feet, you're probably going to run 6. And if you've stuck to that, you'll probably be just fine. And if it's 800 feet, just run number 6 and let it happen. Just let the voltage drop happen. Just be easy, okay? Y'all take care. This is Johnny Valentine with Gain Solar. Happy solaring out there, folks. Please like and subscribe.